Welcome to the admin setup for the users page. Begin by clicking on the admin tab and selecting users. And this will bring you to the main users page. This section will explain how to set up new users and all the additional features that are linked to each user. We also use this users page kind of as a phone list for our employees, so it's very easy to access your employees' contact information if you needed to call them. So you can see we have listed here their last name, their first name, their security group, home phone numbers, work, cell phone, office phones, preparer numbers, PTINs, RBIN, CPEs, if we have an email address on file, and what site that they work at. So this shows all of our active users at this time. Also at the bottom of this page you can see that there is a button to click to compose message. So let's say it's getting close to tax season and maybe you need to send all of your active employees a message regarding some training that's coming up. You can click this button at the top. It's going to select all of your active users. Then you can choose Compose Message. It's going to launch your email, your Microsoft Outlook, and then you can send a message to each one of your employees as long as they do have an email address on file. So that's one way to contact all of your employees. If you would like to search or look at your inactive employees, you can click this box that says Show Inactive Record and click Search User. And this is going to show all of your inactive users, so all of your employees who have previously worked for you. So if you needed to contact a previous employee, you still have all of their information here in the system. So if you uncheck the box and search user, then that takes you back to your active records. So if you would like to go ahead and add a new user, click on the Add New User button, and it takes you to the personal information page. This is the section that we are going to cover right now, is going to be personal information. To begin, anything, as you can see, some of our fields do have an asterisk by it, so that means that it's a required field, so you have to put something in that field before you can save this user. So you begin by entering your user's name, your employee's name. Middle initial is not required. Then each user will get a username, and this is going to be unique for each one of your users, and this is going to be their login for them to log into Atom. So the admin does need to assign a username for each one of your users, and it is case sensitive. So we'll put in PT for this user. We can go to the next field, which is going to be for the password. There are some restrictions for the password for security purposes. Passwords do need to be a minimum of 8 characters. It does have to have a mix of uppercase and lowercase and at least one number or special character. And if you forget all of that, that's fine, because if you enter in a password that doesn't meet that and you try to save it, it's going to go ahead and show you, oh, password does need to be 8 characters, a mix of upper and lower case, and one number or special character. So you can see everything that you have to do for the password right here. All right, the Social Security number. You would need to enter in the Social Security number if you are using Atom for your payroll, because then that's going to generate on your W-2s. If you're not using Atom for payroll, you don't need to enter anything in that field. Goes by, if your employee has a nickname that they go by, you could put that in here. A lot of this, some of the stuff that's not required, like addresses and phone numbers, we actually will assign it for our users to go in and change that information themselves. So we can pick the gender, we can pick the date of birth. The date of birth, if you have a date of birth in here, and as long as you have an email address in here, we have email templates that are set up that will automatically send your employees a birthday wish. Okay, marital status, that can be entered if they want. Site, this is just going to be the site that your employee generally works at. They are able to log in to additional sites and they are able to work at additional sites. This is just going to be their default site. Okay, and then for security group, you'll choose what security group permissions you would want this employee to have, whether they're a receptionist, a preparer, senior preparer, office manager, or administrator. Administrator does have rights to access everything within Atom, and actually our manual goes into quite a bit of detail about what authority each one of these security groups has. So we'll choose this one as a preparer. The experience is linked to the difficulty of returns, one being an easy return, 2 a little bit more difficult, 3 maybe a more medium return, 4 is going to be one of the most difficult returns. So you want to make sure that if it's a newer employee that maybe they're only doing 1 or 2 star returns, and then you're making sure that you're assigning the right employees to do the right clients. So that's what that experience level is for. Default business type, this is going to be what does this user usually do? Do they usually do bookkeeping? Do they usually do payroll or tax returns? Again, they can work on any business type, but as they are adding new clients, if their default business type is tax return, it's automatically going to default that client to a tax return client. So address, phone numbers, you can have your users fill that information in. Individual business type, again, this is just a default. If it's somebody who generally does business returns, you could choose that. If they generally do individual returns, then it will default to individual. But again, they can work on both. Default account type, whatever you have set up for your account types, you may probably use 1040 for the general one. The email, you can see that the email is a required field, and this is required because when your users log in, if they forget their password, they can click on the link that says forgot password, then Atom will email them a new password. So they can have an email address in here. They could also have a cell phone number, and then that could be text to them as long as it has the cell phone number and the cell phone provider. Preparer number, if you have a preparer number within your tax software and you want to show that here, you could do that. This is a good place to keep track of your PTIN, so you know everybody does have a registered PTIN. You can also keep track of CPEs, making sure your employers are getting CPEs for the year. RBIN, we've used Republic Bank in the past, and each employee did have to have an RBN number, so that's why that field is there. Miscellaneous, you could use this for any additional information. Maybe an employee has a CAF number or something like that that you would like in that field. So once you go ahead and save it, you can see that the user is saved, and so now we have created a user for Peter Test. The next section is going to be for uploads. So if you click on the upload button, then you can, this is where a good place to keep all of the documents related to a user. I'll show you a user that actually does have documents. An example of documents that you might want to scan in are employee packets, their social security cards, IDs, W-2s, payroll information, anything related to your employees and your users. You can just scan everything right in here so you can continue to keep your office completely paperless. So again, you can create upload types under the upload section if you wanted different upload types. And you can have it show all years, or if you want to keep it a little bit more organized, then it will show it to you by year. So that's part of the users page. So that is it for the personal information section of the users page. Thank you.